So hi, everyone, and welcome to this PractiTest webinar series. We have with us our guest webinar speaker, Ajay B. Hi, welcome. Ajay is a software testing advocate. He works along with many testers, conducting workshops, speaking at conferences and webinars such as this as well.
Please, thank you each one of you. I will not read out all your names, but my sincere thanks to each one of you for making time for this webinar. And the topic is embracing automation without fear. So what is the first thought that comes to your mind when you hear this title, Embrace Automation Without Fear? You could go ahead and type it out in the chat. Looking forward to your responses. What is that first thought that comes to your mind when you hear embrace automation without fear? Easy way to run test scripts for automation. It's easier than we possibly think. It is about test automation. Automation can be scary somehow. Where, how to start, what things to consider. It's difficult to learn. Encouragement. Okay, nice. Be brave. Don't wait for learning everything. Just start and build it step by step. Saeed Hossein, you have summarized the entire webinar. Manual testers usually feel it uncomfortable to switch to automation. Which test to automate? Understanding automation chases fear of unknown away. Good points. How to start and gain confidence? Yes, we will discuss more about it. Don't avoid to learn new automation skills. Good point. So many options for automation framework. Maybe the next line is which one to choose, right? Fantastic, wonderful responses. And on similar lines, this webinar is going to be, if you have any questions, any comment, to put it on the chat or on the Q&A. So I already have one of the Q&A. We will take it at the end, unless it is like a blocker. If it is a blocker, just highlight blocker or raise hand, and then we will take it right away. Okay, good. So I'm Ajay Balamurugadas, and I am a Senior Director, Quality Engineering at GSpan Technologies. So thank you very much, PractiTest, for inviting me to this webinar. Let's dive deep straight away. So, and first we'll set the context in terms of what do we mean by automation, right? Remember that we are talking about automation, not test automation, okay? The scope, the landscape of automation, and then the questions around automation, the 5W and 1H. And then if you are thinking on the lines of, oh, I don't know automation yet, then how do we proceed? Baby steps in automation, the secrets of learning, and then finally, why I strongly believe that automation projects are also projects at the end of the day. Okay, so let's check out what is automation. So many people confuse automation as test execution or test automation. See, automation is something that is primarily done using tools, and it is an execution of tasks. Now, that task could be your execution of the test, which is again a totally different webinar, which ideally should be execution of checks, right? And it is not restricted to test execution. Anything that you can get it done by a tool is automation. Once we get to that understanding that, okay, automation is not about test automation only, about test execution only, then our entire world of automation comes to the front, which is vast. Okay, Are you blinded by automation? I have interacted with multiple testers who say that I want to move to automation. I'm like, who stops you? That's point one. Second, some of them are, I love automation and I will do only automation. Uh, if you are cooking and you are using, say, mixers, grinders, will you say you are doing automated cooking? No, right? Those are the tools that help you in cooking. Similarly, automation is also a way to help you in testing. Think of testing as the superset, automation as one of the tasks in the testing. Somehow people have encouraged and continue to discuss testing and automation as two different things. They are not. One of them is a subset, or rather is an enabler for good testing. I'm not saying, or I'm not against automation, but at the same time, we need to understand the real meaning of automation and not confuse with automation versus testing. Automation is a part of testing. Okay. Instead of saying test automation or thinking of automation in testing, start thinking on these lines. Where can automation be used? What to automate, what all to automate, what not to automate, why to automate. I do see some questions, CAPTCHA, can we automate? How can I bypass? Right? Some things are difficult to automate. Some things, the value that we get out of automation of those tasks is less than the cost involved. So let's think about the cost versus value as well. Why to automate, how to automate, and which layer to automate. These are some beautiful questions that will take you through a world full of information, knowledge, which you can apply to testing and then get great results. Not just good results, but great results, right? Any questions on or any difference in opinion in terms of what is automation? Till now, whatever I've discussed. You can type it out in the chat if you think, no, Ajay, whatever you mentioned is, we don't agree, and this is my viewpoint. I'm happy to take it right away. Don't you think the whole industry is thinking automation as test automation alone, test execution automation alone? Is API testing considered automation too? It is. See, you already have answered your question. Is API testing? It is testing of APIs. You could do it in an automated manner. You could do it in a non-automated manner, right? What is RPA? Robotic process automation, right? So see, again here, you're automating that specific process, which is again equivalent to a task automation, which is fine, right? And with every test, we need to think of configuration, operation, observation, evaluation. Now with configuration, operation, observation, and evaluation, where is the entire focus? On the operation. And then we say the entire testing can be automated. No, you'll have to first configure. You'll have to then operate. Some of it which can be automated. Then you'll have to observe. What is the point if you just run your scripts or get the automation tool to run some tasks and then no one looks at it, no one observes? Then you need to evaluate whether is there a problem there or not, right? So there are multiple things that we need to pay attention to. Manual and auto tests are using the same test cases created by QA. As in when we go through more slides, you might get the answer to your question. Right. So think on these lines. Where can automation be used? Creating test data. Use automation for that. If it is taking a lot of time, use automation to help you with that. For example, there is a patient name and patient details that you need to enter in an application. Now, if you were doing without tools, what would you do? You would say, Ajay, John or Rekha or whoever it is, 4 to 5 times. What if you could populate that app with 500 different patient names through automation? Now, that is the power of automation. Now, did we execute any test? Not really. We used automation to create test data or to get the test data into the application, which is way different from execution of tests or checks, right? You might even go ahead and add some assertions. You might evaluate something in that specific process as well, but that is a benefit. That's a side advantage. It is not the main task, right? So where can automation be used? Creating test data, monitoring environments, which environment is down, for how long, when was it last up. All those things could be, instead of having one person monitor it, you could use automation to do that. Calculating and comparing run results and timings. You have your entire, say, scripts or an execution. You run it multiple times, and then you want to compare the results. You want to evaluate the results in terms of, okay, how many areas or how many features, what is the health of each feature across executions. Use automation for that. Cleanup of test data or environments. So many times after testing, we realize that, oh, this is not a great state for the application to be in. Can I get back to a specific state? Use automation for that. Mocking components. You can go ahead and use automation for that. Analyzing the changes. I give you 5,000 images or 5,000 test data, and then I ask you which of these is different from the last time that we executed. If you are doing it without tools, very difficult. But if you use the right tools, then which automate this task, then it's a great candidate for automation. Analyzing changes, yes, and long running execution. Many a times we are not able to run for long hours because, we as humans take breaks and then we call it end of day. But that is where you could say, no, I want to put pressure on this particular feature. I want to execute a certain list of tasks again and again and again for these many hours or till it breaks, right? So, use automation in those lines. Now, in all of these cases, I've specifically tried to highlight the cases which are not related to execution, right? And what to automate? The next question, what to automate? I can give you 5 pages of data, but it all comes down to one line: based on ROI, return on investment. What is the cost of automating? Who all are involved? What is their cost? Which tools are involved? How much time do you need to set up all of this, run it, evaluate, maintain, build on it, enhance, all of that? All of those come under cost. Finally, what is the value that you get? Compare these two. If the value is more than the cost, then go ahead and do it. If the value is less than the cost, it doesn't make sense to go ahead and automate, right? So keep this 3 words in your mind. What to automate? Based on the ROI. What not to automate? Constant changes. Cost outweighs the value. And if all the stakeholders are not in sync. Now, what do I mean by stakeholders not being in sync? So you as an engineering team are super focused saying, okay, let's go ahead and automate. And then within 4 hours, the design team says, oh, we got feedback from the latest beta testers, and then we are going to change the design. And then you are automating the UI. Or, oh, this API, we no longer need it, we'll replace it with this, right? With all of these kind of changes coming in, then you are going to lose out in terms of all of these time. Now, there is a good question. How can value be evaluated without implementing? Now, for example, that is where communication comes in as the front runner. Communicate enough, and then start thinking in terms of what could go wrong, right? And there is always the benefit of POCs. I have seen people plan for like 6 months. I'll do this. I'll go ahead and automate this. But then the team sitting next room, like the design team or the product owner team, they are not aware. In fact, in the same company, there are multiple teams using different frameworks, or they have already tried and failed, but the second team is not even aware that this has happened. Do you agree with that? Same product, similar framework being used, but teams are unaware of the other teams working on similar stuff, right? So see, we humans are smart. It's just that we come under peer pressure, or we are not courageous enough to tell the truth. And we say, why invite trouble? Let's just go with the flow, and then we struggle. Okay. So with this, what not to automate, let's go to the next one. Why to automate? I put a very important word. Think. Why to automate? Is there a need for automation, or has someone asked you to automate? If there is a need, please go ahead and do it. If someone has asked you to automate, please ensure if there is a need or not. There are some strange folks who automate because they got a new tool. Hey, our management got this new tool. Let's go ahead and automate. Our management has given this tool and asked us to automate. So we need to automate. Boss, is that the right tool? Have you done a POC? Is there a need for automation? Are folks skilled in that particular tool / language / framework? Oh, no, who worries about those questions? Let's just automate. And then after 6 months, again, start from scratch, or I will leave the company, right? So this happens a lot in multiple companies. Please don't fall prey to these things. Okay. How to automate? Choice of tool, language, see which one is comfortable for you, which one the application supports, which one is easier to debug, which one is easy to learn, which one is available, right? It is not a one-line answer in terms of, oh, pick this tool or pick this language. But there is one good word that kind of answers all of this, which is the context. In places where it is already automated using a specific set of parameters, go ahead and use that same unless there are major problems. If you are trying out something, you want to evaluate a specific language / tool, please go ahead and do that. And do you want to batch everything or go ahead and automate specific cases, right? So these come under the how part. Where to automate? Yes. So this triangle, pyramid, you can call it whatever you want, but at least understand the different layers where you can go ahead and automate. Do you want to automate at the UI, the business rules, or at the unit test level? Okay. So these are the things that I wanted each one of you to think about. Right? And I want to highlight the different testing activities that we do as part of testing. Understanding the requirements, we do that. Modeling the application, you just don't jump into writing test cases. You create a model of the application in your mind or paper or mind map or wherever. You say, okay, this feature interacts with this feature, needs ABC as input, this is the output, this is how the data is processed, right? You're creating models of the application. You organize a lot of documents, you collaborate with people or stakeholders. Luckily, we are still not in the age where we interact with robots saying who give us the requirements, right? We still continue to discuss with people, stakeholders. Then we design our tests. Then we question our assumptions. I have not considered a proxy. What if proxy comes into the picture, right? And then finally, we go ahead and execute the tests. Then we learn about the different systems. We identify bugs, we report the bugs, then we triage, we investigate. Then finally, we estimate. We also find risks in between. We try to mitigate those risks, and then we plan the right tests, especially like, different multiple cycles. We report the final test report, and then finally making sense of all of these reports. There's so many activities, right? Where do we focus the most for automation? Test, execution. So my question to all of you and to everyone else is this: with all these activities, why are we so obsessed with just one of them? Right? Why? Can we run automation on the requirement documents to maybe come out with a sense of the emotions involved, the words involved, the words repeated, the keywords, the dependency words, right? Can we take help of automation for modeling the automation? Can we automate the organization of different documents? Each of these activities you can automate to some extent, but our focus is on the execution part. If we think on all of these activities and then decide saying, oh no, this test execution is the one which will give us a lot of value, I'm okay with it. The problem is we're not even thinking about the other activities. Do you agree about this point? People are not even thinking about these activities. They just say automation means test execution. Stakeholders think automation is a magic solution to all testing. Yes. The reason the teams don't speak up, the teams don't tell that it is not. They're not able to connect to the bigger picture, like how Abhishek is saying, right? We are somehow, as long as testers don't speak up, we will continue to be in trouble, right? So do you think organizations are focusing only on the test execution part and not even caring about automating the other areas? Do you agree or disagree? So Patrick says disagree. So Patrick, do you think majority of the companies here are thinking of automation for the other activities? Or is their focus only on test execution as the first point? Or maybe if you different companies doing different things, yes. Now each one of us is from different company, but as you can see from the ones who have answered, majority of them are saying that main focus is test execution in majority of the companies, right? Diana has given a beautiful statement, maybe because it is easier to count the tests than to actually sit down and see how to actually measure a tester's work. Absolutely. Right. Good things take time. So for those who are taking the baby steps in automation, I have no clue of programming, I have no clue automation, I have that fear, how do I start? Okay, if those are some of the questions, thoughts, then here are my suggestions. These are not foolproof, but these are my suggestions. Start with the book called Head First Programming. It is not Head First Python, not Head First Java, or not Head First JavaScript. Start with Head First Programming. Understand the concepts of programming. What is a function? What is a constant? What is looping? Right? Start with that first. And once you are comfortable with that, then it is just a flavor of the concepts, right? Python does it in a way, different from Java, JavaScript, and all of that. Then it becomes easy. Because if you are not aware of the concepts, you jump onto a specific language, then you are stuck with that language. Then switching on to another language is very difficult because now you are not able to understand the concept. It is more like, oh, this is how I did. I don't know why I did, but Java told do this, right? Instead, focus on the fundamentals first, right? Go for the book Head First Programming. If you are someone like me who says, reading is okay, but then I want, to do hands-on, then ProGate is a decent option. So what does ProGate do is they teach you or introduce you to a concept in 2 to 3 slides, and then they give you a hands-on exercise. Do they start with all of the setup which is required when you actually do a project? No, right? That I agree. They don't. But that is a good enough start. Okay. Because for someone who has not done any programming, who's taking the first step in automation, you don't want to spend majority of your time debugging why your ID is not working or why a specific path is not working and all of that, right? You just want to learn the concepts first. Later, we'll spend time debugging, troubleshooting, all of that anyways we have to do once we get onto the project. So go for ProGate. I recommend that. It is good. And then I did something with Lavanya where I asked her questions about, hey, Lavanya, what do you think? How can we read the code, right? How do you do code reviews? Are there different knowledge levels in automation? Like that, ask someone who knows and get their answers and practice. So that is what I did. You can go through all the videos. There are like around 10 videos in my public YouTube channel under the playlist called Exploring Automation, where I actually did what the title say. I explored about automation. There is Test Automation University. Go ahead, do the courses. There are multiple courses. There are learning paths as well. So you can do that. From where the QA Learning Center, the screenshot I put is from, PractiTest. Right? So go, I saw there the very good articles listed out there. Some of them, yes, debatable, but then that's what the beauty of testing is. There is no set standard. Everyone has their opinions, and based on different context and experience, the articles change, right? So good. So you can go to PractiTest QA Learning Center as well. And here are the secrets. Learn daily. No excuse for that. Minimum 1 hour. Many people confuse job with career and want to learn on the job. I am of the opinion that job is something different. It is a part of the career. You own your career, and the employer owns what they get out of you in the job. Okay. So don't say I will learn in between my job. So have a separate 1 hour, whether you are in an office, whether you are in a job or you are not in a job, this learning is independent and should happen. Have a learning partner. There are so many people who want to learn. You just highlight and then you will get a partner. In fact, here itself, we have like more than 50 people. Just say, who wants to be my partner? We can try out 1 or 2 sessions. And if things work out, we can learn daily. Pick a learning partner. What happens is some days you don't want to learn. Some days you are like, I had a late night office work, production release, production bug fix, all of that. But then with a learning partner, they'll be like, I can't make my learning partner wait. So let me join, right? So that pressure is good. Start from the basics. Don't try to be an expert now. It is not the time to be an expert. Okay. Do not compare your journey with others, please. You will do yourself more harm than benefit. Do not compare your journey with others. Don't give up. Okay, don't give up. Now, a simple example is this. Say, for example, you need to go to a specific point and you see a big traffic jam. Will you change the destination or will you change the route? How many of you say, what's your answer? If you are going on a path, you face a traffic jam, change the route or the entire destination? Route or destination? Route. Change route. Route. Then why do we leave automation midway? If we are not able to learn through books, learn through videos. If not by videos, by mentors. If not by mentors, through workshops. If not by workshops, practice projects. If not by practice project, through exercises. Don't jump. Oh, I tried Java, it was difficult, so I started Python. Oh, I found Python difficult, now I'm going to JavaScript. No, it will not help, right? You have to fix it one day or the other. Instead, don't change. Change is not good. Practice. There's no other super secret. If you are consistent, if you have a accountability partner and work hard, nothing is impossible. Okay, remember this app. And finally, automation projects are also projects. Don't we have people in automation projects? Don't we have time and deadlines in automation projects? Don't we need to organize stuff? Don't we need to follow a process? Don't we have a team? Don't we struggle with assumptions? We do have a lot of confusions in automation projects as well. We collaborate with multiple stakeholders. We need to do a lot of planning, replanning, reviews, demos, right? We need to resolve conflicts, not the code conflicts that I'm talking about, but actual conflicts between people and thoughts. We need to estimate, we need to communicate, we need to unblock, we need to share experience. If you are experienced in these things, which if you have worked in any of the projects, then you must be experienced in at least some of these things. You can apply that straight away to automation project as well. The ones who write the code can be different people, but you can manage that project. You can learn from them being in the same project, right? So as long as you are very good at these, you can continue to manage automation projects as well, at least to start managing the automation projects. So that's where this line is. You can start to focus on all of the above, even with just enough automation knowledge. The key words here is start. You can start to focus. It's not like with just enough automation knowledge, can I do all this stuff? No, you cannot. But at least you can start. Many people are not even starting because they are hesitant, because they are like, oh, I've never done automation in my life. That's okay. Have you worked in any project and did any of these above activities, involved in the above activities? If yes, you can jump into automation project and slowly, quickly learn. Okay, step by step, learn step by step, right? Now, with that, let's see what else I have. So I'm almost done. And these are some of my books. 50 plus mistakes of my software testing career. One of the big mistake was where I rejected automation early in my career. I said, automation cannot find bugs that a human can find, so I will not learn automation, right? That was one of the biggest mistakes of my career. There are multiple tools in the Ultimate Productivity Toolkit, which can help you with automation. Not of the test automation, but for the real meaning of automation, that is automation of the tasks. Software bug stories has examples of different bugs that have costed a lot. And 50 plus lessons from 50 books is my happy book reading club, where I discuss a book every Saturday. Feel free to ping me and we can discuss more. Heuristics for effective public speaking is for public speaking. You can get all of these books at bit.ly/AJLeanPub. This is an example. I would say, like, shortening the URL is also doing something faster using a tool, which is automation. Okay, so I'm now open for all questions. I do see 2 questions here. Or Mayan, should I hand it over to you?
No, Ajay, you can definitely start with the questions that you see here, and yeah, you can lead the way. It's fine.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. People think the automated test cases are going to run at the click of a button and everything is going to succeed in first run. Yes, which is wrong, because again, even for automation, you need to understand what to automate, and you need to build that scripts. You will make mistakes. Application might change, or there might be a conflict in terms of the framework or the tool not compatible with the application. You'll have to resolve all of those, and then finally your scripts will start running, and then you will realize that maybe you have missed something, or it is running very slow, right? So it is not going to happen in the click of a button. It is just pure dreams. People see that end goal, and then they see that, oh, it's automation is magic. No, it's not magic, right? There's one more: how to convince the management, the project managers, that this cannot happen for first initial runs. Automation for the first initial run. You see, we testers are sometimes very bad at storytelling. We don't tell the whole picture. For example, ask any tester, what did you do in the last 1 hour? And say, I tested this application. I automated these cases. In reality, they would have done all of those four: configured, operated, observed, evaluated, troubleshooted something, learned something new from Google or some team member, attended a meeting. There's so many things, but we are not able to tell a convincing story of how and where our time goes. And because of that, management thinks, oh, automation is so easy, just like any other task, but it's not. And that's why they also think testing is easy, right? Because we are not able to tell the complete story. So learn to tell a good story, a good compelling story of where your time goes and where you're facing the issues. See, we are very good at reporting bugs, but we are very bad at reporting issues that slow down your testing. Bugs are anything that deteriorates the value of the product, but issues are something that slow down your testing. So we don't say why and how long we were blocked because of which. We just say, we tried and then now we have overcome that challenge. So unless we explain to the management the difficulties in doing the overall task, they'll always think it is a magic of click of a button.
Okay. Ajay, I have another question here.
Yeah.
With so much changes every day in technology, how do we keep ourselves up to date? I think you pretty much did answer that with the slides.
Right.
Oh, okay, here we go. You also sort of touched on this, but what are the common mistakes that you've seen with someone starting their automation journey?
Meanwhile, there are four more questions, maybe three more questions. I'll take them and then take those two questions, Mayan.
Okay. Somebody wrote, this is one more. Somebody wrote, I don't like programming and have tried multiple ways to learn it. What do you suggest for me?
Progate, try Progate. Maybe have a session with someone who is good at automation, or session with someone who is starting on the same lines with you, right? And then get help from mentor, and then see how you can get rid of that barrier of I've never done. Deciding between Cypress and Selenium, any specific considerations? To be honest, I have not done anything on both of them, so I might not be the best person to answer this. How do you deal with the situation where the job spec was an automation position and getting there it's manual? So first of all, we need to get rid of that manual and automation, the differentiating them. And then instead think of how can I add value using my work? And that work could be investigating, exploring, or getting some tasks done through tools, which the industry calls as automation, right? So if you go there and you see that it's not what you want to do, talk and then see if they are willing to change. How to choose tool for the application which best fits, for example, web application, Catalan, Selenium. So I've written an article on Sticky Minds. factors to decide before choosing an automation tool. So you can look at that, or maybe I'll also tweak. You can search for Sticky Minds, my full name, and you'll get the list of articles that I've written. One of them is that. My understanding is automation is to detect changes rather than finding new bugs, which is better suited for manual testing. I believe you mentioned that you learned a lesson that that is not totally the case. Can you explain that a little? Yes. So automation, why restrict the power of automation just to detect changes? Why not use automation to save time in any other activity that is included in testing? That is point one. And sometimes some bugs appear when you use the right tools. Can you look through 5,000 cells and find out which is the odd cell? Maybe yes, doing a blink test. Can a tool do that faster and more accurately than you? Yes. So, pick the right tools and pick the right context where you can go ahead and use the tools, right? I hope I answered, or else feel free to rephrase the question, Nick. What is your opinion on opening a UI when in between when automating API? Should API testing be purely non-UI, or can we include UI automation as well? Now, the point comes in terms of what is the need for opening a UI? If it cannot be done through an API, then you know the answer, that it cannot be done, and hence I need to do that. Then go ahead. If you say no, there is an alternative, but I still want to do it in UI, then the factors of cost come into picture, the factors of flakiness comes into picture, the factors of the overall execution time, all of that comes into picture, right? So think on the lines of why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it really necessary, or I'm just doing without weighing the benefits or cons of the other approaches?
Okay, I see that we addressed most all the questions we had here at the moment. So I think we will say many thanks to you. It was a great session. Everybody was really engaged, and I will be, as I said, the recording will be made available and sent to everyone who signed up, those who attended, and also those who couldn't make it. And that's it, I guess, for today. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you very much. And
thank you everyone for attending.
Right. So this is my email ID, and if you want to connect with me for more discussions, feel free to ping me. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you all for attending, and thank you, PractiTest, once again.
Thank you for coming. Have a good day, everyone.